is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
Good evening, I'm Mark Mullins. Tonight, the fallout continues over vaping and e-cigarettes. As Juul possibly tries to appeal a plan to ban flavored vapes, RTV6 is examining both sides of the fight. The FDA announced plans this week to remove all unauthorized flavored e-cigarette products from the market. It's part of a ramped-up effort by the Trump administration to tackle the epidemic of youth e-cigarette use. RTV6's Nicole Griffin is finding out the impact this step would have on vape shops and why health experts say it's something that needs to be done as soon as possible.
It's being called an epidemic by health experts, the number of teenagers vaping. New preliminary numbers from the National Youth Tobacco Survey showing a continued rise in rates of youth e-cigarette use, especially the use of flavored products. More than a quarter of high school students say they currently vape and they use fruit or menthol flavors. But vape shop owners like William Tilbury say this new push by the Trump administration to remove flavored products will not just hurt businesses, it will impact adult e-cigarette users who use the flavored products to stop smoking cigarettes.
People quit tobacco by vaping something that they like to taste. The saying that the flavors are appealing to kids, that's not true when I still eat candy, you know? The flavors are so that way you don't think about the cigarette.
It's a topic being discussed right here in Indianapolis today here at the Lung Force Expo, the dangers of e-cigarettes. The presenter of that topic from the American Lung Association tells me something needs to be done to stop teens from vaping.
Flavors attract kids. That's part of the marketing to them. The blueberry, watermelon, unicorn flavor, those need to go. Those need to be off the market. These products have been out there and unregulated far too long. The American Lung Association has been calling for regulation for almost a decade, and now we're in a crisis and an epidemic.
Tilbury agrees there needs to be regulation, but not a ban. He doesn't believe the e-liquids sold at vape shops are what's causing the recent outbreak of lung illnesses, but instead products that contain THC. The CDC says that in most of the 380 lung illness cases, patients reported using THC, but in some cases, they just use nicotine. Once the FDA completes this new policy in the coming weeks, enforcement will begin to remove flavored products from the market. Working for you, Nicole Griffin, RTV6.
Well, the FDA says the makers of any flavored products removed from the market can apply under a similar regulatory path for approval as tobacco products. They will have to meet the same standards set under the Tobacco Control Act. As we mentioned, a major company might appeal the Trump administration's plan to ban all flavored e-cigarettes, but the Wall Street Journal reports there is disagreement among Juul's top leaders. They're debating whether to appeal the ban or embrace it. Now, according to the report, Juul wants to petition the FDA to allow sales of mint, menthol, and mango flavored nicotine products. The ban on those takes effect next year. The Wall Street Journal estimates only 20% of Juul's products are tobacco flavored. A change in weather is ahead on this Friday the 13th, along with a full moon. Storm Team 6 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory is tracking what's changing.
What you're saying is we have momentum into the weekend, a nice change just in time to take advantage of that over the weekend. 77 in Logansport, Zionsville, temperature is 80, Indianapolis at 84. We did, by the way, make it to 90 degrees, 91 officially, fourth day in a row. We've had temperatures at 90 or above. Western half of the state, I think your threat for any evening showers is over. Very limited threat remains in the eastern, say, third. Just to the southeast of Muncie, some thunderstorms stretch toward Winchester and Portland. They will move into the Buckeye State. All these are just ahead of a cold front, and I shouldn't say a cold front, it's the cold front that will bring about these nice changes. There's a shower in the southern portion of Brown County. The wind now solidly out of the west. We've replaced the southwest wind. Notice over in Ohio, it's still southwest. The front is coming through central Indiana, changing the wind direction, which will change the way it feels. Kickoff temperatures for these high school games right now at 84, 78 by the end of the game. There's the full moon. It's so big it's scary.
A bizarre story is generating more questions than answers tonight. A couple is facing charges for allegedly abandoning their adopted daughter. According to the Tippecanoe County prosecutor, Christine and Michael Barnett adopted a girl from the Ukraine in 2010. The girl says she lived with them for 2 years in Hamilton County. But in 2013, prosecutors said the couple moved to Canada, leaving the girl behind in a rented apartment in Lafayette. She was only 11 years old. Prosecutors also say before abandoning the girl, who has a form of dwarfism, the couple legally changed her age, from 11 to 22. The Lafayette Journal and Courier reports that Christine and Michael Barnett are now both charged with neglect, but police need your help as they gather even more information about this case.
If anybody has any information about this case, we do ask that they contact our department, 765-423-9321, and where they can always remain anonymous and use the We Tip hotline.
Police say the girl's neighbors helped to take care of her. According to investigators, they are cooperating with the investigation. The city of Indianapolis plans to have a say in IPL's proposed 7-year rate hike. Today, in a rare move, the city filed a petition to intervene with the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. Indianapolis has hired an attorney to look at IPL's proposal, which would up customer bills over a 7-year period. The Regulatory Commission has been holding public hearings on IPL's plan and could issue a decision early next year. In addition to considering public input and what has been filed with the Regulatory Commission, commissioners will also hear the city's position on the plan. The IPL plan would meet an average customer bill increase of $10.50 per month by the year 2027. Well, what are the odds? At the very moment of an unusual incident, a Wayne Township fire engine pulls up and a camera on board starts recording. And I want you to take a close look here because the video is grainy, but once you see it, it's pretty unbelievable. A crane falls from a tow truck and goes over the side of the roadway at 10th Street and I-465 on the west side. This happened this morning. The truck ended up rolling down the embankment and hitting a vehicle on southbound 465. Crash cleanup brought traffic to a halt for hours. Right now, a safety alert is in effect for Ball State University students after a sexual assault was reported near campus early this morning. It happened at a home on West Riverside Drive between campus and Wheeling Avenue. We don't have any other details on what happened, but Ball State sent out a reminder on the importance of getting consent from a partner before sex and where to turn if you are a victim. We have all of that information in this story on the RTV6 app. The cleanup process continues at a Lawrence Township elementary school that was evacuated after a fire today. Leaders with Lawrence Township School said the fire originated in the roof of Amy Beverlin Elementary. It happened this morning in an area that was under construction. Crews explaining they had been using a torch to work. Now, officials say students, faculty, and staff were quickly removed from the building and everyone is safe and accounted for. 2 teachers were treated for smoke inhalation and students were sent home for the day after the fire. Amy Beverlin Elementary School gained attention back in January of 2016 when its principal, Susan Jordan, saved 2 10-year-old students from being hit by a bus, dying herself in her act of protecting them.
I think the best thing we can do is to let people know that each one of them is precious.
A big picture coming to the Heartland Film Festival this year. Last night, the festival announced it would feature a screening of the highly anticipated movie about Mr. Rogers starring Tom Hanks more than 2 months before the movie hits theaters. It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood will be shown at Newfields on October 10th as part of this year's Heartland Festival. Still ahead on RTV6 News at 7, young people leading the push for change as the environment becomes a major issue in the 2020 election.
And speaking of change, several that I think you'll like. Sunshine, a big part of the weekend. Name a couple other elements you'll enjoy coming up. RTV6 is working for you.
This is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
Welcome back here. A youth climate activist from Sweden joined young Americans outside the White House today for a climate strike. This comes as the EPA announced it's rolling back an Obama-era rule protecting rivers and wetlands. ABC's Inez de la Cuerta shows you how the president is explaining the change.
Young people fighting for the survival of our planet.
No more oil. Keep that carbon in the soil.
Dozens of students gathered right outside the White House as part of the school strike protest, demanding action from political leaders on climate change.
We don't want change, but we need change. We need global change.
Joining them was Swedish climate activist Greta Thunberg, who at just 16 shot to fame for inspiring students around the world to make their voices heard on the matter.
I'm so incredibly grateful for every single one of you.
Thunberg arrived in New York on Wednesday after crossing the Atlantic on a zero-emission sailing yacht. Now she's taking her fight to the president's doorstep, just as Trump's Environmental Protection Agency overturned Obama-era clean water regulation.
The Clean Waters Act, which didn't give you clean waters. By the way, today we have the cleanest air, we have the cleanest water that we've ever had in the history of our country.
In an ABC News Washington Post poll this summer, more than half of those surveyed disapproved of the president's handling of climate change, an issue that's also on the minds of Democratic candidates.
I refuse to postpone any longer taking on climate change and leading the world in taking on climate change.
While Thunberg says she doesn't believe she can convince the U.S. president, she's encouraging students to keep going.
Never give up. We will continue, and see you next week on September 20th.
Next week, Thunberg will meet with lawmakers on Capitol Hill. Her visit to Washington comes ahead of the United Nations Climate Summit and the global climate strike that kicks off on September 20th. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, Washington.
Around here, we've been enjoying some hot days, a return of summer before summer officially ends, actually.
And it just shows you, even though we're talking about a cool down, temperatures will still be above average. That's how kind of abnormal our warmth has been for this time of year. The bar's at 79. That's our average high this time of year. Temperatures tomorrow close to 80. Doesn't take long though. Early next week, middle to upper 80s consistently in the 7-day forecast. As you look at the radar, chance for rain is dwindling quickly. There are some downpours right now for those of you between Winchester and Portland, crossing US 27 there, headed into the Buckeye State. There are just little blips here. One little shower in Jackson County near Brownstown, then southwest of Columbus, another near Shelbyville, and another northwest of Rushville. Just little drops there on the radar. They may enhance a little bit, but overall the trend will be toward winding this down and pushing everything closer to the state line and then into Ohio. 70s, 79 in Greencastle and Crawfordsville, 80 in Lafayette. There's the comfort entering the state, pushing the warmest temperatures and the most humid air out of the state. That's what will transpire tonight. Temperatures will be in the 50s when you wake up in the morning. Also, the humidity will be way down. A refreshing day is on the way. Temperatures tomorrow morning, 58. Bedford and Seymour, you've been consistently in the 90s as well the last 4 days. All of central Indiana's had temperatures at 90 or above 4 days in a row. As you look at these low temperatures, they won't last forever. We've got 2 mornings perfectly timed for the weekend that are in the 50s. Then we step back up into the middle to upper 60s next week. Sunshine dominates both Saturday and Sunday. Tomorrow, low humidity. The wind will be light. On Sunday, a little bit warmer, but the humidity lags behind. It will still be pretty comfortable. Temperatures, whether you're headed to college football games in Bloomington, up in South Bend, the night game in West Lafayette, very comfortable conditions. Temperatures around 80 degrees with that lower humidity. There's your 75-degree kickoff in Bloomington, 76 for the night game, 7:30 at Purdue. 7-day forecast, we settle in. Temperatures will be in the 80s the entire 7-day forecast. Lows generally in the 60s and rain chances low.
Enjoy the dry weather there. Thank you, Kevin, for that.
Idle time is some of the worst thing for a lot of people in this world. It's very counterproductive.
Soon, these soon-to-be former inmates are getting some good lessons in staying busy to get ahead. Coming up in our nightly Hiring Hoosiers report, inside the program that is giving hope back to ex-offenders.
Rallies and checkers. Fast foodies know the deal.
Hiring Hoosiers connects you with jobs, education, and resources, and today we're talking welding. It's used in a variety of industries, from automotive to aerospace, and our Aaron Litch is taking us to Henry County, where students are heating things up by fusing their passion for welding and the idea of a future career.
Students here at the Newcastle Career Center, they are passionate about welding, and many of them growing up in this setting. And now they are taking what they enjoy doing and putting it towards a future career.
Sparked by as students create parts and artwork in the welding program at Newcastle Career Center.
I just like being able to create something and afterwards be able to look at it and be like, yeah, I did that.
They work on different areas of welding like oxy-fuel, shielded, and gas metal arc. They focus on the various kinds of metal and welding them in basic positions like flat, vertical, and overhead. Along with learning machine use and reading blueprints, they gain a full certificate in the program through Ivy Tech.
Pretty amazing to see how far a student can go from not knowing how to use any hand tools to being able to build parts for a company that they'll actually use on their floor before they leave here.
State data shows there are more than 3,000 jobs in this industry open right now in Indiana. And students say they're mentally prepared to join the workforce.
You know, I go in there and I know I have the qualifications I need and that I'll place higher over someone else because of my training that I already have.
And with this experience, they're ready for the next step in welding after high school.
This program and the things I've been able to do has helped me, and I've gained a lot of knowledge, and it's definitely going to help me in the future.
And recently they have this new virtual welding machine, and especially for beginners, we know that practice makes perfect, and in this industry, precision is key. Working for you in Newcastle, Erin Lish, RTV6.
Well, sometimes your dream job is one that you have to create yourself. And as we showed you in July during ABC's Shark Tank Open Casting Call, a lot of people are doing just that. We wanted to catch up with some of the inventors and innovators that we met that day out at IMS ahead of the Shark Tank Season 11 premiere later this month. That includes Christine Perkins, who is helping man's best friend buckle up. The Westfield woman thought of the idea 20 years ago when her dog went on car rides with her and she realized riding with him in her lap wasn't safe. So she came up with the Fido Rido, a secure seat for your dogs that also boosts them so they can see out the window. It's made from the same materials as your child's car seat.
Hundreds of people telling me how the Fido Rido saved their dog's life. You know, there's a customer, they were on 465 out here, and they were in a 65-mile-an-hour accident, and their car was totaled, but the dog in the Fido Rido was fine.
Will Christine learn that it's a dog-eat-dog world when she comes face-to-face with the Sharks? We'll have to tune in to find out on Sunday, September 29th, when Season 11 of the Shark Tank premieres right here on RTV6. Fido Rido pet car seats retail for less than $110 and can be found on Amazon. We've also put a link to the product on hiringhoosiers.com. One of our favorite parts of Hiring Hoosiers is focusing on efforts that help people find hope for a brighter future. Today we found a mentoring program at the Hamilton County Jail doing just that. The Tower program is both helping inmates re-enter the world and helping fill the growing needs of Indiana's workforce. Tower standing for Transitioning Opportunities for Work, Education, and Reality. It pairs soon-to-be-released inmates with a mentor to help that transition be smoother. We talked to one 28-year-old man who is serving time for auto theft. What he says was making poor choices. He's supposed to get out on October 14th, but with the help of the jail's programs?
I'm looking to take my GED test in 2 weeks, and the way everything's going and going good, I should be getting out within possibly a week early.
The Tower program provides ex-offenders with secure housing, transportation, and employment. It's hosted a job fair today for inmates transitioning out of jail within the next 90 days. Companies like Gaylor Electric that attended the event are looking to hire here because they say this is a legitimate talent pool to pull from with so few candidates already out in the field. And it can be inspiring to make those connections.
I think one of the best stories that I have, we had a candidate come in. He was just looking for that second chance. You know, that's what people say. So we gave him the second chance, and a couple months go by, and he was able to gain custody of his kids again. So I'd say that's a huge win for us, and he's a great employee.
Gaylor Electric has hired at least half a dozen people through the Tower program over the past 3 years. The program is funded by local donors and business owners in Hamilton County. The Hiring Hoosiers report continues next, right here on RTV6. A live look right now at Monument Circle in downtown Indianapolis.
That's why the kettle chips are so good at Meyer.
This is RTV6 News at 7. In an age when stores seem to be closing left or right, Old Navy says it's going to open 800 new ones. That would almost double its total stores to 2,000. The Gap owns Old Navy. It says the goal here is to help underserved communities. This could be one of a couple of big changes for Old Navy. Earlier in the year, Gap announced it planned to spin off Old Navy into its own public company in the year 2020.
Going, almost gone for the thunderstorms. Let's show you those to the east. They're in the eastern portion of the state between Winchester and Portland. Other areas with some heavy downpours just north of Winchester, and then we come southwest. A few more will make their way to the Ohio state line here in the next hour or so. Cooler already, western Indiana. Still humid. The humidity will drop overnight. We'll wake up in the 50s. Enjoy the weekend. 81 tomorrow, 86 on Sunday.
Do enjoy that weekend. Hey, and thanks for joining us for RTV6 News at 7. We'll be back here tonight at 11. Have a good evening.